I'm Braulio from Horizon Day Camp. Have you ever seen a photo where it looks like someone has another person in the palm of their hand? This is called trick photography. Today, Casey is going to teach a photography lesson and show you how to amaze your friends and family with some tricky, funny photos. So get out a phone or a camera and get out there and have some fun.
Hi everyone, I am Casey from Sunrise Day Camp, Long Island. I am a college student studying fine art, and my emphasis is in photography. The kind of photography that I mostly do is nature photography, and you can see all around different photos that I've taken in the past. But today I am going to show you some photography tricks, my favorite photography tricks that you can use to take some fun photos with friends and family. All of these photos can be taken on any kind of camera, including on your iPhone. Have you ever seen a photo where it looks like someone is about to step on you? Or a photo where it looks like one person is holding another person in the palm of their hand? Well, today I am going to show you how to take photos like this. First, I'm going to explain some things that will make this video easier to understand and help you think about things to consider in the future when you're taking your photos. The subject of a photo is the thing that's being photographed. This is usually a person, but it can also be a flower, a plant, a tree, anything else that is occupying the space of a photo. Lighting is really important in photography because it impacts the contrast, colors, and what shows up in a photo. Based on which time of day you choose to shoot, the lighting will look really different. For example, if you're shooting early in the morning or late in the afternoon, this is when the sun is the strongest and it casts really long shadows. During this time, everything looks golden and it makes the coloring of photos really beautiful and interesting. Right at dawn and dusk, there's very even lighting that makes it an ideal time to shoot a portrait because you don't get those harsh shadows from the sun that might make it not look as beautiful. During the middle of the day, the sun is right above, so shadows are really strong and direct, and this is what sometimes makes the portraits unflattering. When you're taking a portrait during the middle of the day to avoid this, it's a good idea to put your subject in the shade so that you don't get those harsh shadows and you get more even lighting. The lighting also changes based on which direction you take your photo. For example, if you're taking a photo facing the sun, the subject will likely look darker and will sometimes come out as a silhouette. Unless you're trying to do this, you might want to take your photo facing away from the sun so that the sun is facing your subject. And when you do that, the sun casts a nice glow on your subject, and this way you're shooting away from the sun. Another important thing to think about is perspective. Perspective is the spatial relationship between things in a photo. For example, based on where the camera is placed, the subject looks different. If the camera is placed lower than the subject will look really big. If the camera is placed a lot higher than the subject looks really small. Also, something that's close to the camera looks a lot bigger than something that's further away from the camera. This actually allows photographers to make really interesting compositions and photos because they can test the limits of perspective. We can make things look more exaggerated than they do in nature, and we can even make photos look impossible. In this photo, I made it look like my sister is going to step on you. That is all because of perspective. Okay, I'm going to show you how to take a photo like this. To do this, you will need someone to be your model. And no, you can't use yourself because you're going to be the photographer. Find somewhere nice with even lighting where the sun is facing your subject. The photo works really well if you have a hill of some sort that will allow your subject to stand higher up than you are. Then put the camera really low to the ground and close to their foot in a way that the camera is facing up towards the sky. You need to get really low for this. You will need to almost get under their foot, and this may take a minute. So make sure they are really balanced so that you can do it. When one foot is really close to you, the rest of their body will look further away and smaller, and it will look like they are about to squash you like a bug. So that's really cool. But if you want to add on an extra challenge, there's one more step that you can add to make it even more interesting. If you feel up for the challenge, you can add on this string of gum to make it look like they stepped in gum. What you'll need to do for this is chew a lot of gum. And then you need to put all the pieces together and stretch them out like a string. When you have that string of gum, place it softly on the shoe. But really softly, because we don't want the gum to stick to the shoe or it'll be too hard to get off. And that's how you take those photos. I have one more thing to show you, and one more kind of photo that you can do to make perspective really interesting in your photos. So, if you want to learn how to make it look like one person is holding another person in the palm of their hand, this is what you'll need to do. Try to find a place where you have some kind of elevated surface that some person can stand on. This is the person that's going to be in the palm of the hand. So, they can sit, they can do a silly pose, they can do whatever, but you will need a chair or step or some kind of higher surface that they can do this on. Then the other person will go in front. This is the person who's going to have their hand out and the other person's going to be standing on it. This person needs to be way in front of the camera, much closer than the person who's on the elevated surface, because they are going to look really big in comparison to the other person, and that's where the perspective comes in. So, the person whose hand's out has to try really hard to line up their hand with the feet of the person who's standing on the chair or step or whatever it is. If their hand is lined up, it will really look like the foot is standing on the hand. But if the hand's close enough to the camera, it will also make the surface that the other person's standing on completely disappear and will really look like they're standing. So you'll need to be really careful and precise in making this photo, but I believe in you. I know you can do it. Once you do this, you will have it looking like one person is standing in the palm of another person's hand. If you want to be one of the people in this photo, you can do that. What you need to do is turn on the self-camera feature on your camera or phone. On the iPhone, it's the button at the top that looks like a timer clock, and you can select how many seconds you want for setup. Set up the camera or phone or whatever it is that you're taking pictures on so that it's leaning on something where it can stand still in place on its own for a long time, because you're going to need to set up for this photo. Make sure both people can fit in the photo wherever the camera is placed. Try to get as much prepared before pressing the timer feature if you are using self-timer, because you'll only have 10 seconds to get in place before the photo's taken once you press the button. And that's how you take this photo. Thank you for watching, and I hope you have fun trying all of these photos and learning more about photography.